of the legislator. That's how those judgments are made, by the legislation of the legislator. And it differs depending on the context the person uses it in. The ultimate legislator is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But sometimes this term may be used for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam because he's a clarifier of what the legislation actually is. Sometimes the fuqaha may actually be meant by this term because they differentiate between what is wajib as opposed to what's mustahab. What may be wajib in one madhab, for instance, making a witr. In the Hanafi madhab is wajib. To other madhab it's not. You know what I'm saying? So the scholars may differentiate and show what's actually wajib, what's mustahab, what's obligatory, what's preferred, what's disliked, what's okay. So because they have, it's not that they are legislating like they're making up their own divine law, but they're categorizing some things that there's difference of opinion about, so they're making it into a category and saying what they might possibly be or what the most likely ruling on what they are is, right? So that's the legal judgment. And when we say independently of repetition or legislation, we're talking about that, right? Then the second one, the intellectual or rational judgment, al-hukm al-aqli. Its judge is the intellect. Its judgments are three, right? Necessary, which is wajib. Impossible, which is mustahil. And possible, which is jaiz. We got to learn these words, inshallah. Y'all want to know what the homework is? Learn these words. Learn these words. Learn these words. Learn the Arabic terms of these, inshallah. Want to learn this. Wajib is not in the intellectual or rational judgment, is not the same as in the Islamic law judgment. Wajib, as far as Islamic law is concerned, means obligatory, compulsory. A person does it, gets a reward. A person who neglects it or doesn't do it gets a punishment or gets a sin, right? But when we're saying wajib, as far as the hukm al-aqli is concerned, it means that it is necessary. It means that it's something that the mind cannot conceive the opposite of. And that definition, if brothers have their paper, inshallah, they could find the original work paper that we're using, inshallah. They will find that on the second page, page number 2, right, where it says the subdivisions of the rational judgment, al-hukm al-aqli. The rational judgment has 3 subdivisions, and they are necessary, al-wajib, inconceivable, al-mustahil, conceivable, jaiz, right? The meaning of necessary, inconceivable, and conceivable. Now I go into detail. What do they actually mean? We already said it, but what's the actual definition in this science? How do we define it? Necessary is that which the intellect cannot envisage its non-existence. Inconceivable is that which the intellect cannot envisage or imagine or conceive its existence. Conceivable is that which the intellect can envisage either its existence or its non-existence. So that's basically, in this science, that's how we define all 3 of those terms. That's how we define all 3 of those terms right there. Because we already know what inconceivable means. In English, we know what conceivable means. We know what impossible means, right? But there's an actual definition in this science that, ma la yutasawwaru fil aqli wujuduhu. That which in the mind cannot conceive the existence of it. That's mustahil. That's impossible. Ma la yutasawwaru fil aqli adamu. What the mind cannot conceive the non-existence of. That's wajib. That's necessary. That's what must be. The mind cannot accept it being any other way. And then, ma yatasawwaru al-aqlu wujudahu wa adamahu. What can be conceived in the mind, the existence or the non-existence of, that is jaiz or that is possible. So these judgments are important for every Muslim to know and understand well, to understand these well, because the misunderstanding of these is what deviated the deviants. The misunderstanding of this right here is what deviated those who deviated. So to be not of those who deviated, who got deviated by that which deviated the deviants, one should know this. I suggest for myself and all of you, and whoever's out there, in YouTube or wherever else, please understand what the intellectual, rational judgments are, and what of those apply to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how they apply to Allah. Because misunderstanding of that is what makes a person misunderstand who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is and what is in Allah ta'ala's power. And what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's power is not associated with to begin with. You know what I'm saying? Like a person says, like an atheist may say, or a Christian may say, well, not really Christian so much, because one of the things we say to them is that how could Jesus be God if he died? If y'all say he died, we don't even believe he died ourselves. And that's the deep thing that we kind of give him more honor than they do. You know, they put him on a cross. They imagine that he bled and, he's on the cross, and, oh my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Some of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ didn't say that when they were getting crucified and killed. We got some of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ that was firm when they died. They asked them when they were cutting pieces of them off. They asked them that, wouldn't you like Muhammad to be in your place, ﷺ? So one of them says that I would not want to be at home with my family safe and sound if the Prophet ﷺ was even being pricked by a thorn or by a needle. And this is when he's bleeding to death. They got his arm, they chopped his leg off. He's saying this, I wouldn't want to be at home safe and happy with my family if the Prophet ﷺ was being poked by a needle. Then they said to each other, we don't know anybody on earth that loves their leader like the companions of Muhammad loved their leader. So if this is just a person who is not a prophet, not a messenger, not what people say is son of God, and he can be steadfast in a test like that, you believe that Jesus would crack? You think Jesus would crack under pressure? That he would break, he would fold, right? You believe he would really fold? Come on now. This is Jesus, man. And we don't even believe, and the whole thing is, we don't even believe he was on the cross to begin with. We believe that he asked Allah to pass the cup from him, and Allah answered this dua. He said, oh Allah, pass this cup from me. This is in the Bible. Pass this cup from me. He's talking about a cup of death. Pass this from me. Allah answered this dua. He's close to Allah. He's a friend of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah answered it. I'm going to answer that. You're not going to taste the cup of death yet. I'm going to take you off the earth. They're going to kill somebody else instead. And he going to crack when he get up on the cross. He going to crack up there. He going to say some stuff that's obvious that it ain't you. But some people still going to think it was you. You know what I mean? So I'm saying that to say, see, where was I? No, I'm playing, but seriously though, the people that deviate because they didn't understand how to perceive Allah. There's certain things that are impossible for Allah. It's impossible for Allah to die. An atheist may say, and this is where I started off at, an atheist may say that if God could do anything, then can he die? Because Christians say Jesus was God. So why do y'all say God can't die? Isn't that in his power? God can do anything, right? The thing is, there's certain things that are mustahil, things that are impossible. Allah Ta'ala's power is not associated with those things to begin with. Allah Ta'ala's will and power applies to things which are jaiz, which are possible. Things which are necessary or impossible, Allah's will and power does not, those things are not what Allah Ta'ala's will and power are associated with. So Allah Ta'ala's will is not associated with his existence. It's not that Allah Ta'ala wills to exist, it's that Allah Ta'ala exists. It's not something like will and power is something like you effecting something into existence that wasn't already there. As for something that's eternal, that was always there, you don't will or make that happen because it's already happening. Just like walking up to a person and say, exist. Doesn't make any sense. He already exists. You going to walk up to him and tell him to exist? You can't tell a person to do something that they already doing. It's already happening. This is already happening. So it doesn't make any sense. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, his qualities which are wajib, which are necessary, the will and power are not associated with those things. The things that are impossible for Allah, like dying, like being more than one, like needing something, like not knowing about something or not hearing something, or like being blind and not seeing something, Allah Ta'ala's will and power are not associated with that to begin with. A person can't ask, can Allah will to not see something? Or can Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not see this if he wants to? His will and power is not associated with something that is wajib or mustahil. And you're talking about stuff that's wajib mustahil now. So Allah's power, it's like saying, can a person eat air? Eating is not associated with air. You breathe air. So the question itself doesn't make any sense. It's like, you're going to drink food or eat water. It doesn't make any sense. Like, yo, do you understand the language you're speaking? Or you mean to translate it into Greek or whatever? I mean, what are you speaking? What language is that? Is Zulu? What is that? Speak English. It doesn't make any sense what you're trying to say right here. Because you're associating things that don't associate. You're trying to put things together. You're trying to put blocks in joints that don't fit. You're trying to put the square in the circle box. It don't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? At least use the same blocks. Then we can talk. So if you know what I mean? So it's like when you try to associate the mustahil and the wajib with something that only affects stuff that is jaiz is the permissible or the conceivable or the created world, then there's going to be a problem because those things don't go together. Will